And new tonight, a homegrown success story. The East Texas Medical Center figured out a way to rebuild an ambulance instead of having to buy a new one.
And eventually it led to a business that brings money into East Texas from all over the country. CBS 19's Field Sutton is live tonight from the hospital's ambulance fleet yard.
Field ambulance services are realizing they can serve more people without having to increase their budgets.
And Mike and Jillian, let me give you an example of why this works. If you look back here, you've got 1, 2, 3 ambulances lined up, and if you take all of them, rehabilitate them instead of buying new ones when they're done with their lives, well, you've got enough money to buy a 4th. A few weeks ago, this ambulance took a trip to Florida. With Sunstar painted on the side, it was headed home to a fleet of about 70 more just like it. Before that, the people at ETMC Fleet Plus spent more than 2 months taking it apart and then putting it back together again. Director Jeff Aiken says these mechanics started what's known as re-mounting ambulances back in 2009.
It was a way to save money at the time and reuse some of the equipment that we already had, and then outside entities found out about it and asked if we could do them for them.
The basic process is simple enough. After 300,000 miles, the cab, the frame, and the wheels are worn out, but the box is still in pretty good shape. So they take the box off, make it look like new, and then stick it on a new chassis.
We installed higher grade computer equipment, higher grade radio technology equipment, to where the communication is better than it ever has been.
All that technology comes with a price, and it's not so much the money as it is the miles and miles of wiring ripped out and replaced. They upgrade the lights for safety because most of these ambulances are on the road nearly 24/7. The whole package lasts just as long as a new one, but the cost is nearly cut in half.
If you took a picture of a brand new ambulance and a picture of a Fleet Plus remount and stuck them side by side, you couldn't tell the difference between the two.
By now, that Sunstar ambulance is back in Florida and back in service, making it their 53rd ambulance to take an East Texas vacation and come back ready to work.
It's doing very well.
Glad to hear it. And when you add all these numbers up, the economic impact is pretty big. All these ambulances they're rehabbing in East Texas from all over bring in several $1 million into our economy every year.
So, Field, you talked about the fact that one of these rebuilt ambulances is about half the amount of a new one. What does one of them cost?
Well, just one of these costs $150,000. They are very expensive. You get down to about $90,000 if you do the rehab instead.
Wow.
Mike and Jillian.
Very important piece of equipment there used.
And a nice side business out of all of that, too.
Right. And ETMC Fleet Plus rebuilds about 30 ambulances every year.
And aside from the ones that belong to the hospital, they come from as close as Mount Pleasant and as far north as South Dakota.